All right, y'all, we're going to take a look at this boudoir photography business today. Going to take a look at its high intent Google searches that boudoir buyers are searching. See if it has BSS and see if we're meeting the GBC recommended minimum of hitting 3 out of 10 page 1 Google slots. And we're back here in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, aka full spectrum intent capture. If you want more info on that, yeah, somewhere, pin post, pin video on the profile. And it's our North Star because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. Those that are rising, they're probably bringing in peeps from the entire intent ladder, the intent spectrum. High intent here on the left to low intent way over on the right. Here we talk about the highest intent peeps, Google search, social media search, searching right now for a boudoir photo shoot in our city. That's where we talk about BSS. All the way at the other end, those are interruption ads like Facebook, Instagram. It's our other brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, where we talk about BLCS. And right now over there, we're only working with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand a month on boudoir Facebook ads. So we're focusing on the two intent extremes right now. So here we're talking about BSS, which is boudoir search sameness. That's when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google. 0 slots means if we're not on page 1, we basically don't exist. We're on page 2 or deeper. And we already know that approximately 80% of Google searches never go past page 1. So that's the bulk of the market, that's most of the market. And if they have zeros, basically if we're in 0 slots on page 1, we're basically invisible and we're going downhill pretty fast. 1 slot on page 1, Google is not good enough either, because every other boudoir photographer on there is also going to have most likely 1 slot. So, if there's 10 organic slots per Google, search page, the a buyer is just going to be clicking on everyone's website, contacting everyone, price shopping us against literally everyone, and as a result, we're actually going to we're actually going to not stand out, be price shopped. People probably go to the lowest bid, all things like that. So boudoir search sameness, no bueno. We also know that 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. Yeah, it's not normal to have such few number of slots for ourselves on page 1 of Google. Extremely common, but not normal. This is actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. There's 2 deeper root causes. One, basically everyone knows about, market saturation, and another one, basically nobody knows about, the false belief of page 1 equality. So first, market saturation, that's someone getting a new iPhone, then they're throwing up their Google My Business profile saying they shoot boudoir. Now they got a website saying they shoot boudoir, saturating the market. Or someone gets a new camera, now they're posting the mom groups saying that for boudoir photo shoots. So it's more sellers to the same number of buyers, driving down the price for everyone. And usually this results in other boudoir photographers kind of getting kicked out of the market, going bankrupt, closing down shop. Now, basically everyone knows that. And also a big thing that happened with that was COVID. A lot of people lost their jobs, still to earn money, became boudoir photographers because everyone's got a great camera on their phone, on their cell phone. And so that was another, supply shock, seller shock. Way more sellers to the same number of buyers. It was when COVID happened. Now the not currently very known false belief of page 1 equality. That belief is that kind of every boudoir photographer gets, 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And, maybe we had our website ranked on page 1 of Google, but then more boudoir photographers came in, kicked us down to page 2, and like, oh, that's simply that's simply how it is. Kind of just we simply gotta take what Google gives us. Hopefully that other person closes down and deletes their website so Google can maybe pull us back onto page 1. But it's kind of out of our hands. That's the belief of page 1 equality, whereas every boudoir photographer gets, either 0 or 1 slots on page 1, and that's simply how it is. But that's a false belief. I know that's a false belief because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on Google page 1 search to 9 out of 10 slots Google page 1 search in 10 days. Why? Because I knew page 1 equality is a false belief. And my hypothesis was Google would give me as many slots as I want, page one slots as I wanted to put in the effort to acquire for whichever keywords I want to put in the effort to acquire them from. So that's exactly what I did, which we'll see those results in, whatever, 2 or 3 more pictures. So page one equality, false belief. We also know that boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness, so having either 0 or 1 slots page one on Google, is a disappearing boudoir photographer. Because look, if you got 0 slots on page one, we already know approximately 80% of Google searches do not go past page one. So we're invisible to 80% of the marketplace. So yeah, we're definitely disappearing. For 1 slot on page one, we're looking the same as everyone else. We're price shopped to death. We're disappearing as well. And this is kind of the canary in the coal mine, where BSS causes disappearing boudoir photographers, and basically all disappearing boudoir photographers also have BSS, what kind of is foreshadowing for the eventual disappearance of the entire boudoir photography business. So it's the canary in the coal mine. So we got to solve first. We got to stop the bleeding here. And luckily, we have a solution. Because we now have learned through extensive testing that BSS is treated with social search saturation. This is our S-cubed methodology. We invented it. You cannot get this solution from anybody else. And social search saturation is exactly what it says. We saturate social search or the highest intent search terms to show up there and kick everyone else out. These are kind of like, the smaller rivers that feed into the Amazon. And kind of when we do that successfully, that flows down into the Amazon, flows into Google. And many times Google will start giving us more and more page one slots for those more and more keywords we're ranking for in social search. So it's called social search saturation S-cubed methodology. We want to be saturating social search at all times, because if we're not, someone else in our city probably is. If nobody is, then we got the first mover advantage to do it. So S-cubed methodology, the other magical thing about this is the only thing I've ever seen for boudoir photographers that can successfully fight against market saturation and essentially render it, null and void. Let's imagine we're in Miami, Florida. Let's say there's 1 million boudoir photographers. Everyone's got a website for their boudoir photography business. They're ranking it. They're competing for page one Google search. But let's say we take S-cubed methodology to the max. We rank for the first, 300 slots for the highest intent search terms for boudoir in our city across all the major social media platforms. So we saturate social search. We're there. Can't find anyone until slot 301 and after. As a result, we're saturating the first 300 slots on Google as well. Well, each page on Google is 10 organic slots, and so that's 30 pages. They gotta go page. Basically, any buyer's gotta go page 31 to find any of our 999,999 competitors, because we cranked S-cubed methodology up to the maximum. So, whose business is growing? Ours. Whose business is growing the fastest in the city? Ours, because buyers can essentially really only find us, because we're everywhere they look. Basically, we're gonna kick out, box out all the other competitors, and we already know, approximately 80% of Google searches never go past page one, so they definitely ain't going to page 31. So this is what S-cubed methodology enables us to do for all those who want to put in the effort to achieve it. Now, once you're with S-cubed methodology, we have page one visibility. We're finally visible on page one, even though if we had 1 slot there, we're not actually visible there because we look the same as everyone else. We get an added bonus to this where we're kicking competing boudoir photographers off page one, effectively making them invisible. They get kicked out to page 2 or deeper. And again, we know approximately 80% of boudoir photographers, or approximately 80% of Google searches never go to page 2. They're page 1 only searches, which means page 2 and deeper is invisible, disappearing boudoir photographer, canary in the coal mine. Eventually, the boudoir photography business will disappear. So we achieve page 1 visibility once we overcome market saturation and page 1. We crash through the false belief of page 1 equality. And page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So here we want to hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page 1 for local search and city search. Because when we're at 3 out of 10 slots, I mean, we've kicked off at least 2 to 3 other competitors from page 1. Also, compared to everyone that has 1 slot on page 1, we got 3. People are going to say, wow, why is Google recommending this person so much? They're going to auto trust us more. And the very rare chance someone else has 2 slots on page one. Well, we're at 3, and so we're always beating them. So it activates Boudoir search visibility for us. And a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. This is our micro universe here. We got disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by market saturation and page one equality. We now have a solution now, S-cubed methodology. And as a result, we achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. Now onto my results I got using this. So I was using this, I want to rank for the term BLCS boudoir. And I use S-cube methodology. That's exactly what I did. And what I actually did was here, organic, we started spot 1. We got organic slot 1. We got organic 2. We got organic. So slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. And slot 10 is me. So I'm from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 in 10 days. And this is through utilizing S-cubed methodology that we invented, that cannot get us from anyone else. We invented it, we created it. And so this is the power of S-cubed methodology. Now onto the main event here. Going to see this boudoir photography business, see how the search is looking for their local and city search. Actually, they're both in this case. So if we got BSS, yes or no. So if we're in the GBC recommended minimum 3 out of 10 slots paid on Google, or let's hit it, Bellingham, Washington. All right, so let's see what we got. Let's see. All right, so we do got one. Boom, we got one. All right, we got one. So we got 1 out of 10. And city's always the hardest one to rank for. So we got 1 out of 10, that's good. But we got BSS, we got boudoir search sameness. We also got, we're not hitting the GBC recommended amount of 3 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google. So if you're a boudoir photographer, a disappearing boudoir photographer, which means you've done local search for the highest intent keywords in your local area for that boudoir buyers will be searching, and you've done the highest intent keywords for your city or close to city for highest intent keywords boudoir buyers will be buying, and you either have BSS for one or both, boudoir search sameness, or you do not meet the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google for either one or both. And you're seeing, you're liking the initial benefits of S-cubed methodology. You decide this is the one path, the one solution forward for you. If you want more slots page 1 on Google, and you definitely want to catch your competitors page 1 on Google, kick them to page 2, where now we know approximately 80% of Google searches never even make it to page 2. So the bulk of the market will never even find your competitors through organic search. And, you want to use S-cubed methodology because now you understand that the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief, and Google actually wants to give as many page 1 slots as possible to those who want to put in the effort to take them. And now we realize we got a methodology, a solution to take them with S-cubed methodology. And you understand the market saturation, new phone, new gear, bringing new boudoir photographers in. But you also are looking ahead, and you're seeing that, hey, you actually need to fortify your business, and you decide you're going to fortify your business against the future boudoir photographers that come in, not only from the new iPhone and the new camera, but also the much larger share. The larger share is actually going to be more people losing their jobs to AI, and they still got to earn money. They still got to pay their expenses, and everyone's got a great camera attached to their iPhone already. So there's going to be way more boudoir photographers coming into the market because of AI, and you actually want to give yourself, fortification in preparation of those boudoir photographers coming into the market, kind of like the levees in New Orleans. They build up the sandbag levees because New Orleans is actually below sea level. So you actually want to build up that fortification in preparation for the future boudoir photographers entering the market, which is going to be more and more over time. So you already decided you're going to prepare for that, and you realized, hey, paying for Facebook ads ain't doing that. That's on Facebook. Paying for Google ads ain't doing that because that's only one slot on Google. The only option that gives you multiple slots is S-cubed methodology for boudoir photographers. And so you realize you need this solution. You want the initial benefits. You want the, pre-fortification benefits because you need to achieve page one visibility to become a visible boudoir photographer and have boudoir search visibility because you need those things in order to become the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And you also like the back-end benefits as well, which we've not talked about yet, but you actually understand already, which is every day we execute S-cubed methodology correctly, we are actually increasing and building up these invisible thematic keyword columns attached to our business, or spokes, hub and spoke. It's attached into our business name, our brand name, our social accounts. And what this is doing, this is building up massive momentum and mind share in the back end of these AI systems. So every day we successfully execute S-cubed methodology together, we're actually increasing the probability you get recommended here, AI overview, premium placement, the one top slot for a search in your city for a boudoir photographer, as well as increasing the probability that regular AI searches actually give you, actually feature you as well, as be ChatGPT search, Claude search, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. Standard Google search still about 90% of searches globally, but dude, AI search growing every day. I haven't done normal Google search probably in like a year to actually like read and learn stuff from a website. I just do the AI mode on Google. And last time I searched for boudoir photographer was in well, I remember it gave me 3 options, but I actually went on my own and looked like Google standard search, and there were about 60 options. So, dude, AI search can be more and more. S-cubed methodology gives us higher chance of showing up AI overview at the top and all AI search. And you also recognize the final kind of extra benefit of using S-cubed methodology being, since you've decided to be the first mover in your city, you can make all this progress, build up all these initial benefits and the momentum for the future benefits, kind of the invisible AI mindshare for your business ahead of all your competitors. Because right now, my plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city on this. And so, as a result, you actually, every day we successfully execute S-cubed methodology together. We are building up, got initial benefits initially happening very fast, and kind of the long-term benefits, the invisible benefits for AI overview recommendation, AI search recommendation. Every day we're putting a bigger and bigger gap between your current competitors and the future competitors coming from AI stealing people's jobs and people becoming boudoir photographers because they need to earn money. We're building up this momentum where basically no one, when we execute on this, no one's going to be able to catch up to us. Because conversely, if someone else in your city went with me first, you would have to rederive or derive for the first time the correct way to do S-cubed methodology, and you would never actually be confident you've derived the correct way to do it. Never be 100% confident, and then you'd have to go equal our execution with me and your competitor. But we've already been doing it long before you, so we've already built up a massive gap between them and you with all the initial benefits and the future benefits, momentum with AI mindshare. So you'd have to then execute the same amount of us every day. And then if you did that, you'd simply maintain the gap that me and your competitor have already made of us being ahead of you. So you'd have to actually double or triple our execution to pull that AI mindshare, those invisible thematic keyword columns away from the competitor's brand, competitor's name in your same city for the AI mindshare in the back end. Pull that back towards yourself. And like, dude, who's got time for that? I mean, how are you gonna outcompete the person that invented S-cubed methodology? Me. So you've decided screw that. You decided, okay, you're gonna be the first mover because you want to be the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. So if that's you, shoot me a DM when my DM's open. The hospital is not currently open for new patients. When I do open up for new patients, I watch these videos. I'll put out a notice, and yeah, shoot a DM then, and we'll see if you qualify for using S-cubed methodology.